what's up, guys? Jesse Stockton here, coming to you in the final days of January. Are any of you still sticking to your resolution? I think I can't remember the exact number of statistic. It's over 90% of people are done within the second or third week. And I just want to talk a little bit around that and maybe give some insight into how to make a habit more solidified. So to understand a few things about habits, and I know that I've talked about habits in another video before, but maybe to recap some of that information, it takes normally around 90 days to make a new habit stick. And this is just like an average number. It can take 120 days. It can take 30 days. Kind of depends on the difficulty of the habit. Some things that you need also to know about are that you're not ever getting rid of a habit. You're replacing one thing with another thing. So that is like a key component to like, I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, you're going to have to replace the food that you were eating or the sitting on the couch that you were doing with food that you should be eating and going to the gym instead. So that kind of brings me to my next point. You can't change too many habits at once, or you're setting yourself up for failure. And trust me, there is nobody that knows this like I do. And I have, when I think back about it, the number of times that I tried to quit doing things like, let's take, for instance, something that shouldn't be that hard. Like when I quit drinking. So I quit drinking for like, I don't know, like a little over a year. Not that I have like some sort of crazy substance abuse addiction. I have an addiction to my inner critic. So when I, being a live musician, coming into a room full of people, all it would take for me is like one person, and it's not like I don't notice these things because I'm standing in front of everybody, so I can like instantaneously pick up on if someone's not like digging on what I'm doing, and I can see the conversations around them, like and it could be stories that I'm just telling myself, but after like 13 years of doing this, I can always find that one person in the room that's kind of like iterating that I'm not some sort of like perfection, and that's okay. It just took me a long time to get over the need to be perfect and replace that with the need to progress. And as one of my favorite yogis and teachers and owner of Terra Soul once said, just so compassionately, progress, not perfection. So yeah, um, progress, not perfection. Now back to what I was saying, quitting drinking. So I had to face my inner critic. So in order to get rid of this habit, it had some facets to it. First, I had to replace what I was doing, the activity that I was doing. So walking into a room full of people, even after like a decade of doing it, being scared out of my mind and just being like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't like doing this. Like, I just wish that I could do something else to make money. And then trying to drown that sound of that story coming into my head and filling me up. I had to replace that thing that I was drowning myself with something else. So my first steps in that, and what's cool for me is I started my music career off not drinking. It's something that I developed over time. I started with something really simple, so I don't drink soda. Like I'm not picking up that habit. I had already broken myself of sugar. So water was just not gonna do it. I needed to replace my habit with something that I enjoyed. So I switched to kombucha, which does actually have like a teensy little amount of alcohol in it, like this much, if you can see that. I switched to that, and of course I like overdid it, but that's okay because I needed to gain the muscle memory of not drinking alcohol with something else. So I would get like 5 kombuchas and drink that while I was playing, until I gained sort of the ability to stand in front of a bunch of people and not have to have like a bunch of liquor drinks and like a bunch of beers. So yeah, that's kind of like a little bit of evolution, and once I started getting more and more comfortable with that, I was able to replace that with water. And since I do, I even sometimes drink coffee, even though I'm not really recommending that. And I don't even want to do it myself sometimes, but it's a part of my general schedule now to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. So to go play music between the hours of 10 o'clock at night and 2 o'clock in the morning, which means that I start getting ready at 9 o'clock and I'm actually at home by 3 o'clock. It's just a really long day. And I don't really recommend that anyone drink coffee after 2 p.m. It kind of ruins your ability to sleep. But I still do it because it's really hard on me. But anyway, this is turning into rambling. Long story short, I took one habit and I replaced it with another. And then I did that other thing until the feeling, the desire, the need for this thing went away. Now, one little funny thing about that, this thing, it didn't turn out to be drinking alcohol. That turned out to be easy to replace. getting, not getting rid of, but rather welcoming the inner critic, the thing that was actually driving the need to want to drink. That was a whole different awakening scenario. And that took a great deal of loving kindness meditation and just a practice of being aware of my own inner critic and the voice that it is, and hearing it, and noticing it, and then saying to it, I see you and I welcome you. And just that practice alone has been very, very powerful in my own transformation and in my life. So that's just one other caveat to hacking a habit. Like, let's say, for instance, you're trying to lose the 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 70 pounds, whatever it is. That's totally doable. But more than likely what's going to happen is you're going to face something that's going to tell you you're not good enough, you're never going to be good enough, you're not loved, nobody even likes you, whatever it is that your inner critic says. You're not pretty, you're stupid, you're dumb, all of those stories that we tell ourselves that are exactly that. They're just stories. They're not serving you. But you're not, it doesn't go away by getting mad at it, getting angry at it, or resisting your experience. And that's what I had to learn, was that the alcohol for me came from resistance. I didn't like what was happening, so I wanted to battle it. And then basically what I had to do was teach myself over time that I could face these things without drinking. So just like losing weight, like I can face myself in the mirror without having to go slam a bunch of donuts and then continuing the self-loathing and the sickness and the inflammation, which is the same thing I had to do. Like I think one of my huge turning points was one of my dearest friends. He came over to my house. Sorry, just thinking about him is a little bit emotional for me. Many of you know him. His name is Ben Privet, and he was this ridiculously amazing person. I still very much look up to him to this day, and I model a great deal of my life after the person that he was. We were standing in the front yard, and he like poked at my stomach, and he goes, "You got a gut." And I tried to suck it in, and I was like, "What are you talking about? It's just this shirt. It's just the way that these pants are." Like, no, I don't. And then when he left, I went inside and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I really couldn't believe the person that was standing in front of me. And that's when I began my just giving myself to progress. And the journey was slow. And it's still not over, thankfully. Because there's always something to learn, as one of my other friends posted on Facebook the other day. My friend Hallie from middle school, she said that you should allow yourself the room to not know something. Because that opens up a whole world of opportunity. So that's where I'm at in my journey, is that I hope that I don't ever know everything. And I truly believe, especially in the world of nutrition and health, that's like one thing that I keep learning, is that whenever I think that I know so much, one tiny little window gets opened, and it's like, oh my god, I have to like rethink how I'm doing everything, which is so cool to me. I'm fascinated by it. Because I'm consistently changing, and that just is a part of getting older, and that to me is so wonderful. So yeah, to recap this rambling that I just undertook, to hack a habit, once again from my last video, takes about 90 days. You need to you don't actually get rid of a habit, you simply replace it. And one of the most important things is that you need to replace it with something that you enjoy. And then once you get on your feet and gain your muscle memory of the new activity, be it going to the gym instead of sitting on the couch, and literally gain your muscle memory for it, then your mind stops punishing you for what you're doing. It takes about 3 days for that to happen. Your mind's going to give you a lot of resistance, like, you don't want to be doing this. This is not the choice that you should be making. Let us, like, hurry, get back to the couch, turn on Netflix, turn off, like, we're safe there. And I just encourage you, I implore you to pause that, specifically that inner critic, because that is, it's there and designed to make you safe, and living just a safe life does not mean long and happy, because there's safety in donuts, there's safety in sitting around, there is safety in not going and interacting with people, there is safety in not facing your fear. And by not doing that, you are limiting to an extraordinary degree your own potential, and your life could be so amazing if you just face those 3 days of fear and then begin to develop that new pattern, replacing that old pattern. So I hope this video helped wherever you are on this planet, and If it did, please give me a like or a subscribe. As always, not in some sort of egotistical way, but in order for me to know that I'm providing useful content that helps people so that I can continue to do so. I hope that you have a fantastic life.